शारदा शारदाम्भोजवदना वदनाम्भुजे सर्वदा सर्वदास्माकं सन्निधिं क्रियात्। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। गणानां त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम्। ॐ श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। शञ्च मे मयश्च मे प्रियञ्च मे नुकामश्च मे कामश्च मे सौमनसश्च मे भद्रञ्च मे श्रेयश्च मे वस्यश्च मे यशश्च मे भगश्च मे यन्ता च मे धर्ता च मे क्षेमश्च मे धृतिश्च मे विश्वञ्च मे महश्च मे संविच्च मे ज्ञात्रञ्च मे सोश्च मे प्रसोश्च मे सीरञ्च मे लयश्च मृतञ्च मे मृतञ्च मे जीवातुश्च मे दीर्घायुत्वञ्च मे नमित्रञ्च मे भयञ्च मे सुगञ्च मे शयनञ्च मे सूषा च मे सुदिनञ्च मे। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ नमो भगवते रुद्राय। नमस्ते रुद्रमन्यवहुतो दैषवे नमः। नमस्ते अस्तु धन्वने बाहुभ्यामुदते नमः। या दैषुः शिवतमा शिवं बभूवते धनुः शिवा शरव्या या तव दयानो रुद्रमृडय। या ते रुद्रशिवा तनूरघोरापापकाशिनी तया नस्तनुवाशन्तमया गिरिशन्ताभिचाकषीः। यामिषुङ्गिरिशन्तहस्ते बिभर्ष्यस्तवे शिवाङ्गिरित्रताङ्गुरुमाहि गुंसेः पुरुषं जगत्। शिवेन वचसा त्वा गिरिशाच्चावदामसि यथा नः सर्वमिज्जगदयक्ष्मगुं सुमना असत्। अद्य वोचदधिवक्ता प्रथमो दैव्योऽभिषक् अहीगश्च सर्वाञ्जम्भयन् सर्वाश्च यातु धान्यः। असौ यस्ताम्रो अरुण उत बभ्रुस्सु मङ्गलः। ये चेमागुं रुद्रा अभितो दिक्षु श्रिताः सहस्रशो वैशागुं हेडयीमहे। असौ यो वसर्पति नीलग्रीवो विलोहितः उतैनं गोपा अदृशन्नदृशन्नुदहार्यः। उतैनं विश्वा भूतानि सदृष्टो मृडयातिनः। नमो अस्तु नीलग्रीवाय सहस्राक्षाय मीडुषे अतो ये अस्य सत्त्वानो हन्तेभ्यो करन्नमः। मुभयोरार्त्नियोर्ज्यां याश्च देहस्तैषवः पराता भगवो वप। अवतत्यदनुस्त्वगं सहस्राक्षसतेषु धे निशीर्य शल्यानां मुखा शिवो नः सुमना भव। विज्यन्तनुः कपर्दिनो विशल्यो वाणवागुम् उत अनेशन्नस्येषव आभुरस्य निषङ्गतिः। या ते हेतिर्मीडुष्टमहस्ते बभूवते धनुः तयास्मान् विश्वतस्त्वमयक्ष्मया परिभुज। नमस्ते अस्त्वायुधाय नातताय धृष्णवे उभाभ्यामुतते नमो बाहुभ्यां तव धन्वने। परिते धन्वनो हेतिरस्मान् वृणक्तु विश्वतः अतो यषुधिस्तवारे अस्मन्निदेहितम्। नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकालाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः। नमो हिरण्यबाहवे सेनान्ये दिशां च पतये नमो नमो वृक्षेभ्यो हरिकेशेभ्यः पशूनाम् नमो नमः सस्पिञ्जराय त्वषीमते पतीनां पतये नमो नमो बभ्लुषाय विव्याधिनेन्नानां हरिकेशायोपवीतिने पुष्टानां पतये नमो नमो भवस्य हेत्यै जगतां पतये नमो नमो रुद्राय क्षेत्राणां पतये नमो नमः सूताय हन्त्याय वनानां पतये नमो नमो रोहिताय वृक्षाणां पतये नमो नमो मन्त्रिणे वाणिजाय कक्षाणां पतये नमो नमो भुवन्तये वारिवस्कृताय नमो नमः कृत्स्नवीताय वन्दयते पत्तीनां पतये नमो नमः कृत्स्नवीताय धावते सत्त्वनां पतये नमः। नमः सहमानाय निव्याधिन आव्याधिनीनां पतये नमो नमः ककुबाय निषङ्गिने एस्तेनानां पतये नमो नमो इषुदिमते तस्कराणां पतये नमो नमो वञ्चते परिवञ्चते स्थायूणां पतये नमो नमो निचेरवे परिचरायारण्यानां नमो नमः श्रिकाविभ्यो जिगागुं सद्भ्यो मुष्णतां पतये नमो नमो सिमद्भ्यो नक्तञ्जरद्भ्यः प्रकृन्तानां नमो नम उष्णेषिणे गिरिचराय कुलुञ्चानां पतये नमो नमः इषुमद्भ्यो धन्वाविभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः आतन्वाणेभ्यः प्रतिदधानेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः यच्छद्भ्यो विसृजद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमोऽस्यद्भ्यो विद्यद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमः आसीनेभ्यः शयानेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः श्वपद्भ्यो जाग्रद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमः धावद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमः सभाभ्यः सभापतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो अश्वेभ्योऽश्वपतिभ्यश्च वो नमः नम आव्यादिनीभ्यो विविद्यन्तेभ्यश्च वो नमो नम उगणाभ्यस्त्रगुंहतेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो गृत्सपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो व्रातेभ्यो व्रातपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो गणेभ्यो गणपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो विरूपेभ्यो विश्वरूपेभ्यश्च वो महद्भ्यः क्षुल्लकेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो रथिभ्यो रथेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो रथेभ्यो रथपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः सेनाभ्यः नमः क्षत्रुभ्यः सङ्ग्रहीतृभ्यश्च वो नमो नमस्तक्षभ्यो रथकारेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः कुलालेभ्यः कर्मारेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः निषादेभ्यश्च वो नमो नम ईशुकृद्भ्यो धन्वकृद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमो मृगयुभ्यश्वनिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमश्वभ्यश्वपतिभ्यश्च वो नमः नमो भवाय च रुद्राय च नमः शर्वाय च पशुपतये च नमो नीलग्रीवाय च शितिकण्ठाय च नमः युक्तकेशाय च नमः सहस्राक्षाय च शतधन्वने च नमो गिरिशाय च नमो मीढुष्टमाय चेषुमते च नमो आह्रस्वाय च वामनाय च नमो बृहते च वर्षीयसे च नमो संवृध्वने च नमो अग्र्याय च प्रथमाय च नम आशवे चाजिराय च नमः शीघ्रियाय च शीभ्याय च नमः ऊर्म्याय च वस्वन्याय च नमः श्रोतस्याय च द्वीप्याय च नमो ज्येष्ठाय च कनिष्ठाय च नमः पूर्वजाय च परजाय च नमो मध्यमाय भाय च नमो जघन्याय च बुद्ध्याय च नमः सोभ्याय च प्रतिसर्जाय च नमो याम्याय च क्षेम्याय च नमः उर्वर्याय च खल्याय च नमः श्लोक्याय च वसान्याय च नमो वन्याय च कक्ष्याय च नमः श्रवाय च प्रतिश्रवाय च नमः आशुषेनाय च आशुरताय च नमः चावभिन्दते च नमो वर्मिणे च वरूथिने च नमो बिल्मिने च कवचिने च नमः श्रुताय च श्रुतसेनाय च दुन्दुभ्याय च हनन्याय च नमो धृष्णवे च प्रमृषाय च नमो दूताय च नमो निषङ्गिने चेषु धिमते च नमस्तीक्ष्णेषवे चायुधिने च नमः स्वायुधाय च सुधन्वने च नमः श्रुत्याय च पत्याय च हट्याय च नीप्याय च नमो सरस्याय च नमो नाद्याय च वैशन्ताय च नमः कूप्याय च वट्याय च नमो वर्ष्याय च वर्ष्याय च नमो मेघ्याय च विद्युत्याय च ईर्ध्रियाय च दप्याय च नमो वात्याय च रेष्म्याय च नमो वास्तव्याय च वास्तुपाय च नमः सोमाय च रुद्राय च नमस्ताम्राय च अरुणाय च नमः शङ्गाय च पशुपतये च नम उग्राय च भीमाय च नमो अग्रे वधाय च नमो हन्त्रे च हनीयसे च नमो वृक्षेभ्यो हरिकेशेभ्यो नमस्ताराय नमः शम्भवे च मयोभवे च नमः मयस्कराय च नमः शिवाय च शिवतराय च नमस्तीर्थ्याय च कूल्याय च नमः पार्याय च वार्याय च नमः प्रतरणाय चोत्तरणाय च नमः आतार्याय चालाद्याय भेण्याय च नमः सिकत्याय च प्रवाह्याय च नम इरण्याय च प्रपत्याय च नमः किगुंशिलाय च क्षयनाय च नमः कपर्दिने च पुलस्तके च नमो गोष्ठ्याय च गृह्याय च नमः तल्प्याय च गेह्याय च नमः काट्याय च गह्वरेष्ठाय च नमो आहृदय्याय च निवेष्ट्याय च नमः पागुंसव्याय च रजस्याय च नमः हरित्याय च नमो लोप्याय चोलप्याय च नम ऊर्म्याय च सूर्म्याय च नमः पर्ण्याय च पर्णशद्याय च नमोपगुरमाणाय च विघ्नते आह्किदते च प्रह्किदते च नमो वह्किरिकेभ्यो देवानागुं हृदयेभ्यो नमो विक्षीणकेभ्यो विचिन्वत्केभ्यो नम आणिर्हतेभ्यो नम आमीवत्केभ्यः द्रापे अंधसस्पते दरिद्रन्नीललोहित येषां पुरुषाणामेषां पशूनां माभिर्मा रोमो येषां किञ्चनाममत् या ते रुद्रशिवा तनुः शिवा विश्वाहभेषजी शिवा रुद्रस्य भेषजी तयानो मृडजीवसे इमागुं रुद्राय तवसे कपर्दिने क्षयद्वीराय प्रपरामके मतिं यथा न शमसद्व्युपदे चतुष्पदे विश्वं पुष्टं ग्रामे मृडानो रुद्रो तनो मयस्कृति क्षयद्वीराय नमसा विधेमते यच्चञ्चयोश्च मनुरायजे पिता तदश्याम तव रुद्र प्रणीतौ मानो महान्तमुतमानो अर्भकं माणवुक्षन्तमुतमाणवुक्षितं मानो वदेः पितरं मोत मातरं प्रियामाणस्तनुवो रुद्रैरिषः मानस्तोकेतनये मान आयुषि मानो गोषुमानो अश्वेषुरीरिषः वीरान्मानो रुद्रभामितो वदेर्हविष्मन्तो नमसा विधेमते आरात्ते गोघ्न उत पूरुषग्ने क्षयद्वीराय रक्षा जनो अधिजदेव ब्रूह्यता जनः शर्म यच्चद्विबर्हाः स्तुगिश्रुतङ्गर्तसदं युवाणं मृगन्न भीममुपहत्रमुग्रं मृडाचरित्रे रुद्रस्तवानो अन्यन्ते अस्मन्निवपन्तु सेनाः परिणो रुद्रस्य हेतिर्वृणक्तु परित्वेषस्य दुर्मतिरगायोः अवस्थिरामगवद्भ्यस्तनुष्वमीड्वस्तोकायतनयाय मृडय मीडुष्टमशिवतमशिवो नः सुमना भव परमे वृक्ष आयुधन्निधाय कृत्यं वसान आचर पिनाकं बिभ्रदागहि विकिरित विलोहित नमस्ते अस्तु भगवः यास्ते सहस्रगुं हेतयोऽन्यमस्मन्निवपन्तु ताः सहस्राणि सहस्रदा बाहुवोस्तव हेतयः तासामीशानो भगवः पराचीनामुखाकृति सहस्राणि सहस्रशो ये रुद्रा अधिभूम्यां तेषागुं सहस्रयोजने वधन्वाणि दन्मसि अस्मिन् महत्यर्णवेऽन्तरिक्षे भवा अधि नीलग्रीवाश्यतिकण्ठाः शर्वा अधः क्षमाचराः नीलग्रीवाश्यतिकण्ठादिवगुं रुद्रा उपश्रिताः ये वृक्षेषु सस्पिञ्जरा नीलग्रीवा विलोहिताः ये भूतानामधिपतयो विशिखासः कपर्दिनः ये अन्येषु विविद्यन्ति पात्रेषु पिबतो जनान् ये पदाम्बतिरक्षयाहिलभृथा यव्युधः तीर्थानि प्रचरन्ति शिखावन्तो निषङ्गिनः यगेतावन्तश्च भूयागुंसश्च दिशो रुद्रावितस्थिरे तेषागुं सहस्रयोजने वधन्वाणि दन्मसि नमो रुद्रेभ्यो ये पृथिव्यां ये अन्तरिक्षे ये दिवि येषामन्नं वातो वस्तेभ्यो दश प्राचेर्दश दक्षिणा दश प्रतीचेर्दशोदीचेर्दशोर्ध्वास्तेभ्यो नो मृडयन्तु ते यन्द्रुष्मो यश्च नो द्वेष्टितं भोजम्भे ददामि त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् यो रुद्रो अग्नौ यो अप्सु यो ओषधीषु यो रुद्रो विश्वा भुवना विवेश तस्मै रुद्राय नमो अस्तु तमुष्टुः यस्वशुः सुधन्वायो विश्वस्य क्षयति भेषजस्य यक्ष्वामहेसौ मनसाय रुद्रन्नमो अभिर्देवमसुरन्दुवस्य अयं मे हस्तो भगवान् अयं मे भगवत्तरः अयं मे विश्वभेषजो यगं शिवाभिमर्शनः ये ते सहस्रमयुतं पाशा मृत्यो मर्त्याय हन्तवे तानि यज्ञस्य मायया सर्वाणवयजामहे मृत्यवे स्वाहा मृत्यवे स्वाहा ॐ नमो भगवते रुद्राय विष्णवे मृत्युर्मे पाहि प्राणानां ग्रन्थिरसि रुद्रो मा विशान्तकः तेनान्नेनाप्यायस्व नमो रुद्राय विष्णवे मृत्युर्मे पाहि सदाशिवोऽम् अग्ना विष्णो सजोषसे मा वर्धन्तु वाङ्गिरः वाजेभिरागतम् वाजश्च मे प्रसवश्च मे प्रयतिश्च मे प्रसिद्धिश्च मे धीतिश्च मे क्रतुश्च मे स्वरश्च मे श्लोकश्च मे श्रुतिश्च मे ज्योतिश्च मे सुवश्च मे प्राणश्च मे पाणश्च मे व्यानश्च मे सुश्च मे चित्तञ्च आधीतञ्च मे वाक्च मे मनश्च मे चक्षुश्च मे दक्षश्च मे बलञ्च म ओजश्च मे सहश्च म आयुश्च मे जरा च महात्मा च मे तनूश्च मे शर्म च मे वर्म च मे गाणि च मे परोगुंषि च मे शरीराणि च मे ज्येष्ठ्यं च माधिपत्यं च मे मन्युश्च मे भामश्च मे मश्च मेऽम्भश्च मे जेमा च मे महिमा च मे वरिमा च मे प्रतिमा च मे द्रागुया च मे वृद्धं च मे वृद्धिश्च मे सत्यं च मे श्रद्धा च मे जगच्च मे धनं च मे वशश्च मे त्वषश्च मे क्रीडा च मे जातं च मे जनिष्यमाणं च मे सूक्तं च मे सुकृतं च मे वित्तं च मे वेद्यं च मे भूतं च मे भविष्यच्च मे सुगं च मे सुपतं च मे रुद्धं च मे क्लिप्तं च मे क्लिप्तिश्च मे मतिश्च मे सुमतिश्च मे शञ्च मे मयश्च मे प्रियं च मे नुकामश्च मे कामश्च मे सौमनसश्च मे भद्रं च मे श्रेयश्च मे वस्यश्च मे द्रविणं च मे यन्ता च मे धर्ता च मे क्षेमश्च मे धृतिश्च मे विश्वं च मे मखश्च मे संविच्च मे ज्ञात्रं च मे सोश्च मे सीरं च मे लयश्च मृतं च मे मृतं च मे यक्ष्मं च मे नामयश्च मे जीवातुश्च मे दीर्घायुत्वं च मे नमित्रं च मे सुगं च मे शयनं च मे सूषा च मे सुदिनं च मे ऊर्क्ष मे सूनृता च मे पयश्च मे रसश्च मे घृतं च मे मधु च मे सग्धिश्च मे सपेतिश्च मे कृटिश्च मे वृष्टिश्च मे जैत्रं च मे औद्भिद्यं च मे रयश्च मे रायश्च मे पुष्टिश्च मे विभु च मे प्रभु च मे बहु च मे भूयश्च मे पूर्णं च मे पूर्णतरं च मे क्षतिश्च मे कूयवाश्च मे क्षुच्च मे दीघयश्च मे यवाश्च मे माषाश्च मे तिलाश्च मे मुद्गाश्च मे कल्वाश्च मे गोधूमाश्च मे मसुराश्च मे प्रियङ्गवश्च मे श्यामाकाश्च मे नीवाराश्च मे अश्मा च मे मृत्तिका च मे गिरयश्च मे पर्वताश्च मे सिकताश्च मे वनस्पतयश्च मे हिरण्यं च मे यश्च मे सीसं च मे त्रपुश्च मे श्यामं च मे लोहं च मे अग्निश्च म आपश्च मे वेरुधश्च म ओषधयश्च मे कृष्टपच्यं च मे कृष्टपच्यं च मे ग्राम्याश्च मे पशव आरण्याश्च यज्ञेन कल्पन्तां वित्तं च मे वित्तिश्च मे भूतं च मे भूतिश्च मे वसु च मे वसतिश्च मे कर्म च मे शक्तिश्च मे अर्थश्च मे येमश्च मे यतिश्च मे गतिश्च मे अग्निश्च मयेन्द्रश्च मे सोमश्च मयेन्द्रश्च मे सविता च मयेन्द्रश्च मे सरस्वती च मयेन्द्रश्च मे पूषा च मयेन्द्रश्च मे बृहस्पतिश्च मयेन्द्रश्च मे मित्रश्च मयेन्द्रश्च मे वरुणश्च मयेन्द्रश्च मे त्वष्टा च मयेन्द्रश्च मे दाता च मयेन्द्रश्च मे विष्णुश्च मे श्विनौ च मयेन्द्रश्च मे मरुतश्च मयेन्द्रश्च मे विश्वे च मे देवा इन्द्रश्च मे पृथिवी च मयेन्द्रश्च मे अन्तरिक्षं च इन्द्रश्च मे द्यौश्च मयेन्द्रश्च मे दिशश्च मयेन्द्रश्च मे मूर्धा च मे प्रजापतिश्च मयेन्द्रश्च मे अगुंशुश्च मे रश्मिश्च मे दाभ्यश्च मेऽधिपतिश्च म उपागुंशुश्च मेऽन्तर्यामश्च म ऐन्द्रवायवश्च मे मैत्रावरुणश्च म आश्विनश्च मे प्रतिप्रस्थानश्च मे शुक्रश्च मे मन्ती च म आग्रयनश्च मे वैश्वदेवश्च मे ध्रुवश्च मे वैश्वानरश्च मे ऋतुग्रहाश्च मे तिग्राह्याश्च म ऐन्द्राग्नश्च मे वैश्वदेवश्च मे मरुत्वतीयाश्च मे माहेन्द्रश्च म आदित्यश्च मे सावित्रश्च मे सारस्वतश्च मे पौष्णश्च मे पात्नीवतश्च मे कार्योजनश्च मे युध्मश्च मे बर्हिश्च मे वेदिश्च मे धिष्णियाश्च मे शुचश्च मे जमजाश्च मे ग्रावाणश्च मे स्वरवश्च मे उपरवाश्च मे धिषवणे च मे द्रोणकलशश्च मे वायव्यानि च मे पूतभृच्च म आदवणीयश्च म आग्ने इन्द्रं च मे हविर्धानं च मे गृहाश्च मे सदश्च मे पुरोडाशाश्च मे पचदाश्च मे वभृतश्च मे स्वगाकारश्च मे अग्निश्च मे घर्मश्च मे अर्कश्च मे सूर्यश्च मे प्राणश्च मे श्वमेधश्च मे पृथिवी च मे दितिश्च मे द्यौश्च मे शक्वरीरङ्गुलयो यज्ञेन कल्पन्तां वृक्ष मे साम च मे स्तोमश्च मे यजुश्च मे दीक्षा च मे तपश्च मे ऋतुश्च मे व्रतं च मे होरात्रयोर्वृष्ट्या बृहद्रथन्तरे च मे यज्ञेन कल्पेतां गर्भाश्च मे वत्साश्च मे त्रविश्च मे त्रवी च मे दित्यवाच्च मे दित्यौगी च मे पञ्चाविश्च मे पञ्चावी च मे त्रिवत्सश्च मे त्रिवत्सा च मे तुर्यवाच्च मे तुर्यौघी च मे पष्टवाच्च मे पष्टौघी च मे उक्षा च मे वषा च मे ऋषभश्च मे वेघश्च मे नद्वाञ्च मे धेनुश्च म आयुर्यज्ञेन कल्पतां प्राणो यज्ञेन कल्पतामपानो ध्यानो यज्ञेन कल्पतां चक्षुर्यज्ञेन कल्पता श्रोत्रं यज्ञेन कल्पतां वाग्यज्ञेन कल्पतामात्मा यज्ञेन कल्पतां यज्ञो यज्ञेन कल्पताम् एका च मे तिस्रश्च मे पञ्च च मे सप्त च मे नव च मे एकादश च मे त्रयोदश च मे पञ्चदश च मे दश च मे नवदश च मे एकविंशतिश्च मे त्रयोविंशतिश्च मे पञ्चविंशतिश्च मे सप्तविंशतिश्च मे नवविंशतिश्च मे एकत्रिंशच्च मे त्रयस्त्रिंशच्च मे चतस्रश्च मे अष्टौ च मे द्वादश च मे षोडश च मे विंशतिश्च मे चतुर्विंशतिश्च मे अष्टाविंशतिश्च मे द्वात्रिंशच्च मे चत्वारिंशच्च मे चतुश्चत्वारिंशच्च मे अष्टाचत्वारिंशच्च मे वाजश्च प्रसवश्च बीजश्च क्रतुश्च सुवश्च मूर्धा च व्यश्नियश्चान्त्यायनश्चान्त्यश्च भौवनश्च भुवनश्चाधिपतिश्च इडा देवघोर्मणुर्यज्ञनेर्बृहस्पतिरुक्ता मदानिषगुंसषद्विश्वे देवासोक्तवाचः पृथिवीमातर्माहि गुंसेर्मधुमनिष्ये मधुजनिष्ये मधुवक्ष्यामि मधुवदिष्यामि भ्योवाचमुद्यासगुं शुश्रूषेण्यां मनुष्येभ्यस्तम् मा देवा अवन्तु शोभायै पितरो न मदन्तु ॐ शान्तिः 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 सहस्रशीर्षा पुरुषः सहस्राक्षः सहस्रपात् स भूमिं विश्वतो वृत्वा अत्यतिष्ठद्दशाङ्गुलम् पुरुष एवेदगं सर्वं यद्भूतं यच्च भव्यम् उतामृतत्वस्येषाणः यदन्नेनातिरोहति एतावानस्य महिमा अतोऽज्यायागश्च पूरुषः पादोऽस्य विश्वाभूतानि त्रिपादस्यामृतं दिवि त्रिपादोर्ध्व उदयित्पुरुषः पादोऽस्येहा भवात् पुनः ततो विश्वं व्यक्रामत् शासनानशने अभि तस्माद्विराडजायत विराजो अधिपूरुषः स जातो अत्यरिच्यत पश्चाद्भूमिमथो पुरः यत्पुरुषेण हविषा देवा यज्ञमतन्वत वसन्तो अस्यासीदाज्यम् ग्रीष्मयुग्मः शरद्दविः सप्तास्यासन् परिदयः त्रिसप्तसमिदः कृताः देवा यद्यज्ञम् तन्वाणाः पुरुषन् पशुम् तं यज्ञम् बर्हिषि प्रोक्षन् पुरुषम् जातमग्रतः तेन देवा अयजन्त साद्यार्षयश्च ये तस्माद्यज्ञात् सर्वहुतः सम्भृतम् पृषदाज्यम् पशोगस्तागश्चक्रे वायव्यान् आरण्यान् ग्राम्याश्च ये तस्माद्यज्ञात् सर्वहुतः ऋचः सामानि जज्ञिरे छन्दागुंसि जज्ञिरे तस्मात् यजुस्तस्मादजायत तस्मादश्वा अजायन्त ये केचोभयादतः गावो हजज्ञिरे तस्मात् तस्माज्जाता अजावयः यत्पुरुषं व्यददुः कतिधा व्यकल्पयन् मुखं किमस्य कौ बाहू का भूरूपादावुच्येते ब्राह्मणोऽस्य मुखमासीत् बाहूराजन्यः कृतः ऊरू तदस्य यद्वैश्यः पद्यागुं शूद्रो अजायत चन्द्रमा मनसो जातः चक्षुः सूर्यो अजायत मुखादिन्द्रश्चाग्निश्च प्राणाद्वायुरजायत नाभ्या आसीदन्तरिक्षम् शीर्ष्णोद्यौ समवर्तत पद्भ्याम् भूमिर्दिशश्रोत्रात् तथा लोकागुम् अकल्पयन् वेदाहमेतम् पुरुषम् महान्तम् आदित्यवर्णम् तमसस्तु पारे सर्वाणि रूपाणि विचित्य धीरः नामानि कृत्वा विवदन् यदास्ते धाता पुरस्ताद्यमुदा जहार शक्रः प्रविद्वान् प्रतिशश्चतस्रः विद्वानमृत इह भवति नान्यः पन्था अयनाय विद्यते यज्ञेन यज्ञमयजन्त देवाः तानि धर्माणि प्रथमान्यासन् ते हनाकम् महिमानः सचन्ते यत्र पूर्वे साद्याः सन्ति देवाः अद्यः सम्भूतः पृथिव्यैरसाच्च विश्वकर्मणः समवर्ततादि तस्य त्वष्टा विदधद्रूपमेति तत्पुरुषस्य विश्वमाजानमग्रे वेदाहमेतम् पुरुषम् महान्तम् आदित्यवर्णम् तमसः परस्तात् तमेवम् विद्वानमृत इह भवति नान्यः पन्था विद्यते यनाय प्रजापतिश्चरति गर्भे अन्तः अजायमानो बहुधा विजायते तस्य धीराः परिजानन्ति योनिम् मरीचीनाम् पदमिच्छन्ति वेदसः यो देवेभ्य आतपति यो देवानाम् पुरोहितः पूर्वो यो देवेभ्यो जातः नमो रुचाय ब्राह्मये ऋचम् ब्राह्मम् जनयन्तः देवा अग्रे तदब्रुवन् यस्त्वैवम् ब्राह्मणो विद्यात् तस्य देवा असन्वशे ह्रीश्च ते लक्ष्मीश्च पत्न्यौ अहोरात्रे पार्श्वे नक्षत्राणि रूपम् अश्विनौ व्यात्तम् इष्टम् मणिषाण अमुम् मणिषाण सर्वम् मणिषाण सहस्रशीर्षम् देवम् विश्वाक्षम् विश्वशम्भुवम् विश्वन्नारायणम् देवमक्षरम् परमम् पदम् विश्वतः परमान्नित्यम् विश्वन्नारायणगुम् हरिम् विश्वमेवेदम् पुरुषस्तद्विश्वमुपजीवति पतिम् विश्वस्यात्मेश्वरगुम् शाश्वतगुम् शिवमच्युतम् नारायणम् महाज्ञेयम् विश्वात्मानम् परायणम् नारायणपरो ज्योतिरात्मा नारायणः परः नारायणपरम् ब्रह्म तत्त्वन्नारायणः परः नारायणपरो ध्याता ध्यानम् नारायणः परः यच्च किञ्चिज्जगत् सर्वम् दृश्यते श्रूयतेऽपि वा अन्तर्बहिश्च तत्सर्वम् व्याप्य नारायणस्थितः अनन्तमव्ययम् कविगुम् समुद्रेऽन्तम् विश्वशम्भुवम् पद्मकोशप्रतीकाशगुम् हृदयम् चाप्यतोमुखम् अधो निष्ट्यावितस्त्यान्ते नाभ्यामुपरि तिष्ठति कुलम् भाति विश्वस्यायतनम् महत् सन्ततगुम् शिलाभिस्तुलम् पत्याकोशसन्निभम् तस्यान्ते सुषिरगुम् सूक्ष्मम् तस्मिन् सर्वम् प्रतिष्ठितम् तस्य मध्ये महानग्निर्विश्वार्चिर्विश्वतो मुखः सोऽग्रभुग्विभजन् तिष्ठन्नाहारमजरः कविः तिर्यगोर्ध्वमदशायी रश्मयस्तस्य सन्तता सन्तापयति स्त्वम् देहमापादतलमस्तकः तस्य मध्ये वह्निशिखा अनीयो ऊर्ध्वाभ्यवस्थितः नीलतो यदमध्यस्ताद्विद्युल्लेखे वभास्वरा नीवारशोकवत्तन्वी पीताबा अस्वत्यनोपमा तस्या शिखाया मध्ये परमा आत्मा व्यवस्थितः स ब्रह्म स शिवः स हरिः सेन्द्रः सोऽक्षरः परमस्वराट् ऋतगुम् सत्यम् परम् ब्रह्म पुरुषम् कृष्णपिङ्गलम् ऊर्ध्वरेतम् विरूपाक्षम् विश्वरूपाय वै नमो नमः नारायणाय विद्महे वासुदेवाय धीमहि तन्नो विष्णुः प्रचोदयात् विष्णोर्नुकम् वीर्याणि प्रवोचन् यः पार्थिवाणि विममेरजागुंसियो अस्कभायदुत्तरगुम् सतस्तम् विचक्रमाणस्त्रेदोरुगायो विष्णो रराटमसि विष्णोः पृष्ठमसि विष्णोस्त्यप्त्रेस्तो विष्णोस्योरसि विष्णोर्ध्रुवमसि वैष्णवमसि विष्णवे त्वा ॐ शान्तिः 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 अद्यानो देवसविदः प्रजावत्साभिः सौभगम् परा दुष्वप्नियगुम् सुव विश्वाणि देवसवितर्दुरितानि परासुव यद्भद्रम् तन्म आसुव हरिः ओम्
তুমি সন্ন্যাসী বেশে কে তুমি সন্ন্যাসী বেশে কে কাঞ্চন যিনি প্রেমে গড়া তনু খানি কে তুমি সন্ন্যাসী বেশে কাঞ্চনে গড়া প্রেমে গড়া তনু খানি কে তুমি সন্ন্যাসী বেশে মুড়ায়ে চাচরকে ধরেছ যোগীর বেশ মুড়ায়ে চাচরকে ধরেছ যোগীর বেশ হারিলে প্রেমাবেশ এ জীবন ধন্য মানি কে তুমি সন্ন্যাসী বেশে নিকের শিরোমণি সবারে বাসো ভালো কাঙালের কোলে তোলো সবারে বাসো ভালো কাঙালের কোলে তোলো হারে দাও প্রাণ পেল না গো নাহি জানি তোমায় কে তুমি সন্ন্যাসী বেশে নরেন্দ্র বীরেশ্বর হৃদয় রঞ্জন মোর নরেন্দ্র বীরেশ্বর হৃদয় রঞ্জন মোর শরণ চাহি রাখো পদে দাস জানি কে তুমি সন্ন্যাসী বেশে প্রেমিকের শিরোমণি কে তুমি সন্ন্যাসী বেশে প্রেমিকের শিরোমণি কাঞ্চন যিনি প্রেমে গড়া তনু খানি কে তুমি সন্ন্যাসী বেশে প্রেমিকের শিরোমণি। এই গানটিও রবীন্দ্রনাথের একটা গানের সুরের মতো। Even Swami Vivekananda used to sing that one. It's called তোমারে করিয়াছি জীবনের ধ্রুবতারা সমুদ্রে আরো কবু হব না কো দিশাহারা তোমারে করিয়াছি জীবনের ধ্রুবতারা। থ্যাংক ইউ।
কৃষ্ণ নাম জপো মা শারদা নাম জপো মা শারদা নাম জপো রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম জপো লোভিবীর রাম কৃষ্ণ ধাম অনায়াসে লোভিবীর রাম কৃষ্ণ ধাম অনায়াসে শারদা রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম ভজরে মন শারদা রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম জপরে মন শারদা রাম কৃষ্ণ নাম।
Namaste everyone, and welcome to Swami Vivekananda's birthday celebrations. Before we begin with some
talks and a little bit of entertainment from me. We'll have some announcements, all right? First of all, if you haven't been here before, and most of you look like familiar faces, but in case you have never been here before, there's a toilet down in the library, in that room, the glass door, and the other toilets are downstairs. And if you want to go up and down, please use the lifts if you need to, otherwise use the steps. And if there is an emergency, if there is a fire, just run. Not towards the fire, but away from the fire. Running towards the fire does nobody any good. So before we start the rest of today's proceedings, I will do the traditional acknowledgement of country on behalf of everyone who's going to come forward and speak here. So we acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and acknowledge of the continuing connection to land, waters and community. We pay our respects to the people, the cultures and the elders, past, present and emerging. Finally, if you feel like it, we do take donations. The donations go towards our soup kitchen, which is an activity that we have where we provide food to the needy. We cook them on Fridays and then we send them out to the various organizations who will then redistribute to the people who need them. So we take donations for the food kitchen. We also take donations for the building fund, which is tax deductible. So if you want your donations to be tax deductible, it can be arranged and just donate it towards the building fund of this organization. So we will have a few speakers today, and most of the speakers are not as old as me. They are in fact, all of them are coming up to the podium for the first time, so we want to encourage them as much as possible, right? So to start us off, we will have Monish. Monish, are you here? Yes. So please encourage him and give him a warm round of applause.
Dear elders, Swamijis and friends, I'm Monish Paluri, a young disciple from Vedanta. I'll be reading chapter 1 of Young Naran. Once a young man was walking along the streets of Kolkata. Suddenly he heard a great noise. What was it? Then he saw a carriage rushing along the streets. The horse pulling the carriage was running as fast as it could. Something had frightened it, and it was running away. A lady riding the carriage had been badly frightened. She was in great danger, because the carriage might be upset at any moment. No one was able to help her. The young man saw what was happening. He was very brave. When the horse came close, he ran towards it at the own risk of his life, seized the reins and forced the horse to stop. The young lady was saved, and she was very grateful to the man. Who was he? He was called Narendranath, and he later became famous as Swami Vivekananda, and born in a Datha family. He lived in Simalaya section of Kolkata. Sri Vishwanatha Datta was a lawyer. He had studied many things and was respected by everyone. His wife Bhuvaneshwari Devi, she was like a queen in appearance as well in behavior. Everyone loved and respected her. On the 12th of January 1863, the first son was born. They named him Narendranatha. Naren was a naughty child. Sometimes Bhuvaneshwari Devi found it extremely hard to control him. However, she found that even when Naren grew restless, if cold water was poured on his head at the same time chanting the name of Shiva in his ear, the child would quiet down. Indeed, at times like this was the only method which would bring him under control. Young Naren learned many things from his mother, and she told him stories from the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. Navin loved to hear stories from Sri Rama, and he brought a small clay image of Sita Rama. He worshipped it with flowers, and he liked to listen to it reading to Ramayana. Once he stayed in a banana grove for a long time, hoping to see Sri Hanuman, for he had heard that that was his favorite place of a heroic devotee, Rama. He also liked to play at meditation. He would take one or two of his friends to a lonely place, and they would sit in front of an image of Sita Rama or Shiva. Then Nardan would meditate and think about God. He would get lost in his thoughts about God. For a time he would not see or feel anything around him. Once a cobra came gliding along the ground. The other boys were frightened and ran away, but Nardan stayed where he was. They shouted at him, but he did not hear. Then, after some time, the snake went away. Later, his parents asked Nardan why he did not run away. He replied, "I didn't know anything about the snake. I was feeling very happy." Nardan was very happy that sadhus visited their house. He sometimes gave them valuable things. Once he gave a new piece of cloth that he was wearing to a sadhu. After that, his parents locked him up whenever sadhus came to his house. But when Nardan saw sadhus, he would throw things through the window. Then he would become a sadhu himself someday. Nardan's father was a lawyer. Many people came to see him. He entertained them and offered them tobacco to smoke. There were different types of pipes and different types of caste. But caste was a great mystery to Nardan. Why was a member of one caste not allowed to eat with the other members of caste? Why were there different tobacco pipes for different castes? There were a pipe for Muslims also. What would happen if he smoked in all of the pipes? Would there be an explosion? Would the roof fall down? Nardan decided to find out himself. He took a whiff from one pipe, nothing happened. He tried all the pipes and took a whiff, and nothing still happened. So just when his father entered the room, asked him what he was doing, Nardan replied, "Oh father, I was just trying to see what would happen if I broke caste." His father replied and laughed and went to the study.
Thank you, Monish. And now we will invite again a first-timer, Devanshi, to the podium.
Good morning to the Swamis and all disciples. My name is Devanshi, and I am here to read a short passage about Swami Vivekananda's early life. A short life of Swami Vivekananda, by Narendranath. The future Swami Vivekananda was born in the famous Datta family of Simla in Calcutta. His family name was Narendranath Datta. His grandfather, Durgacharan Datta, was a gifted man, well versed in Persian and Sanskrit, and had a great aptitude for law. But at the age of 25, after the birth of his son, Vishwanath, he renounced worldly life and became a monk. Vishwanath Datta, the family of Swami Vivekananda, was also endowed with many qualities of head and heart, for which he commanded great respect from one and all. He was proficient in English and Persian, and took the delight in the study of the Bible and poems of the Persian poet Hafiz. He took law as a profession and became a successful attorney at law in the High Court of Calcutta. He was a man of deep compassion and great sympathy, and his charity often knew no discrimination. Vishwanath was a great lover of music and had a very good voice. It was he who insisted that his son, Narendranath, should study music, for he looked upon it as a source of much pleasure. Vishwanath was blessed with a wife who was his peer in all respects. She was exceptionally intelligent and possessed royal dignity and a fire of one born, as it were, to regal estate. She won the respect and veneration of all who came in contact with her, and her judgment was followed in the conduct of all affairs that mattered. Calm resignation to the will of God in all circumstances, strength and reserve characterized this Hindu woman. The poor and helpless were the special objects of her solicitude. She was noted for her unusual memory and knew by heart-long passages from the great epics, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, which she read daily. Of such parents was born, on Monday, the 12th of January, 1863, Narendranath, who afterwards as Swami Vivekananda shook the world and ushered a new age of glory and splendor for India. The influence of the mother in the formation of the character and the development of the mind of a child is always great. Narendranath used to tell later how his mother had taught him his first English words, and he mastered the Bengali alphabet under her tutorship. It was at her knee that he first heard the tales of Ramayana and the Mahabharata. His boyish imagination was captivated by the life of Sri Rama, an incarnation of God, and he purchased a clay image of Sita and Rama and worshipped it with flowers. Sometimes Shiva took the place of Rama as the object of worship by Narendranath, but nevertheless, Ramayana had the greatest fascination for him, and whenever the Ramayana was to be read in the neighborhood, he was sure to be there. Sometimes he was so enraptured by the thrilling episode of Rama's life that he forgot all about home. Naren, as he was now called, liked to play at meditation. Though it was play, sometimes it awakened him in a deep spiritual emotion, which made him unconscious of the outer world. One day he lost himself so much in this mimic meditation in a secluded corner of the house that his relatives had to force open the door and shake him to bring him back to normal consciousness. Thank you.
We've had 2 teenagers come up. We actually have one more preparing himself to come and speak, but I'm going to break this pattern a little bit and have someone really young come and speak, that being me. You can tell by the white beard that I'm really young. A few weeks ago, Swami Vivekananda asked me to give a talk on Swami Vivekananda. Now, the first thing that came to my mind is, what can I possibly tell you that you don't already know? So that got me thinking, and then I thought maybe we should look at his whole life from a different perspective, right? So we all know Swamiji is that enigmatic, young-looking man on the left-hand side of the altar. He's always there, eyes closed, in meditation, encouraging us to go into meditation as well. But we see him as a monk, as a sannyasin. What if I stripped him of his monkhood? What if I stripped him of his religiosity? Would I still respect him, honor him, revere him in the same way that we do when he is a monk? And that was one of the things I thought we'd go and discover. See if we could all respect him the same way. So we respect, honor, revere that person, Swami Vivekananda, based on a very singular perspective, that he is a man of God, chosen by God to do the work of God. We all know of the story where he is one of the Saptarishis and Guru Maharaj came down as a baby, pointed at him and said, "There, come with me." And then he ended up coming down to do his work. And we all admit he did a really good job. He lived just 39 years. He left behind a legacy that the Ramakrishna order is still carrying on, and now a movement that he started on the 24th of December way back when is now a movement that is all around the world. Started off by him, but he wasn't exactly a well-known man then. So what happens when we strip him of his saffron robes? When we strip him of the saffron robes and the spiritual aura, what remains is a thinker, a reformer, and a visionary who understood the pulse of a nation and the aspirations of humanity. Vivekananda Narendranath was born in 1863 at a time when India was shackled under colonial rule, struggled with abject poverty, real abject poverty, ignorance and a fractured sense of identity. He saw these challenges not as a mere political problem, but as a human problem. There were issues of dignity, there was no education, people were not empowered, the British were in control, and they were pretty much destroying the India that we knew. So I was thinking about all these things, and then by mere coincidence on one of the days when I was playing Uber driver to Swami Atmeshananda, he mentioned something that struck my mind even more, that made this perspective of wanting to take his religiosity away even more worthwhile a thought process. See, when he was young, just by coincidence, when he was young, he was told, you will either be a man of great business, hugely successful, or you would be a great leader of mankind. Now, where have we heard this story before? We go back to the story of Buddha when he was born, and an astrologer tells him that, hey, you will either be a great king or you will be a great leader of mankind. So very similar situation happened to Swami Vivekananda, which I admit I did not know happened until that little drive with Swamiji. So let's meet an adult Narendranath Tata. I'm going to use the word name Narendranath Tata because I'm trying to remove that monkhood from him, so he's not Swami Vivekananda. So an adult Narendranath Tata, who is now just a man. But he is still a man that has combined intellect with execution, science with humanism, and global vision with local, real people impact. So let's start with the question he asked Sri Ramakrishna. A 17, 18-year-old young man going up to this old man who's preaching about God and say, hey, old man, have you actually seen God? Now, we know the two people who did the interaction. We know it was Narendranath Datta who had become Swami Vivekananda, and we also know who Sri Ramakrishna was. And Sri Ramakrishna was in a calm and composed manner telling him that, yes, I have seen God, and I can see Him better than I see you, or to those words. But we see those interactions and we end up thinking about the two people, one who would be his future disciple and one who is the God himself, telling him that this is the premise by which we live, that God is real. But let's look at the situation. Let's look at the incident itself. You have a young 17-year-old person, 17, 18-year-old person asking a wise old man that question. Now let's look at our own lives and look at our 17-year-olds. Would they dare ask such a question? What I take from that situation is you have a person who is courageous, but more than courageous, confident that this is a question worth asking. That this is an answer that not many people know about. Maybe somewhere in his mind he knew that in the future this would be the most valid of all questions that a human being could ask a possible Godhead. But at that time, in that place, in a little shackled place, having a 17-year-old student come up and ask a wise old man, have you seen God? We don't have the guts. I mean, let's be honest. Many of you are wiser than I am. Would you allow your 17-year-old to go up to an old man and ask that question? Because we bring up our kids with humility and say, oh, you must treat old people with respect. You don't go and ask them questions that you would get scolding for. But this was a young man who was allowed to do it, but the whole situation changes when the Godhead says, yes, I have seen God, better than I can see you. And suddenly, what is a very arrogant moment by a young man becomes a very valid moment between two wise people. But that also shows his insight. That also shows his willingness to ask the right questions, to probe further for the sake of everybody else to know what the truth is. It's very scientific a method of asking. He tests his assumption. His assumption was that nobody would have seen God. He tested it. He went up to this wise old man and asked him, have you seen God? And he said, yes. He demanded the evidence. And when he demanded the evidence, he got the evidence. I see him better than I see you. And the rest of his life was dedicated to providing the young Naren with the evidence that God exists. It was a decision that he made with both head and heart. So this was typical of a man who throughout his life embraced scientific principles. Swamiji embraced science. He believed science and spirituality were complementary frameworks for understanding reality and serving humanity. He urged society to adopt modern technology, industrialization, scientific education while insisting ethics and human purpose guide our progress. So we even see this dilemma in this day and age with artificial intelligence and genetic engineering. What exactly are we doing? Are we actually tampering with science? Are we actually tampering with nature for the betterment of the human society or for life on earth, or to the detriment of life on earth, especially when we tamper with genetic engineering? All right? There is now a study going on, and it's being in the US, where they are trying to create babies without the intervention of man. So therefore, a woman can have a baby all by himself. But it involves severe genetic engineering of the embryo and sperm cells. And they would create this baby elsewhere in a laboratory setting, and you don't even need human intervention to have this child. Now, if such a thing actually comes to fruition, where do we stand as people? So this question that ethics and a human purpose must guide our progress is a question that he laid down at his time, that we are still grappling with today. He observed, Swami Vivekananda, or the adult Narendranath Datta, observed that science and religion must meet and shake hands. Each will see that the other is necessary. So now if this Narendranath Datta was a man of industry, he would actually invest in research and development, but anchor it in human outcomes. Use the data available, but honor judgment and values, and build systems that scale and uplift people. All through life, he had a holistic view of science, integrating it with spirituality and service. He believed that science is a systemic pursuit of knowledge that can reveal what existence is all about. He saw it as a subject matter that complements spiritual insight, and that they do work together. Which is pretty much not the argument that we have today, that science and religion can work together. Most scientists would like to cut religion out and say that God doesn't matter, it's the experiment that matters. But he saw it otherwise, and he saw it wisely. But in Indian culture, we also see others who were able to merge religiosity with science very successfully. Someone such as Srinivasa Ramanujan, who used to dream Mother Saraswati putting mathematical formulas on his tongue, and then he'll wake up and he'll write those formulas down. And then someone will ask him, where did this come from? Have you verified it? He said, I don't know, I dreamt about it. Here it is. And of course, when he went to Cambridge, they made him verify all his equations. They made him run those numbers again and again and again. And while they didn't use it then, today's space exploration would not be possible if those formulas that he dreamt was not written down. Because just about every rocket that goes into space needs his mathematical calculation. So when he mixed science and religion together, he said this to the human beings of his time, which is now being perpetuated throughout time and to us as well. These are his words. I am sure God will pardon a man who will use his reason and cannot believe, rather than a man who believes blindly instead of using the faculties given to him. So in other words, he frowned upon blind belief of God or anything else for that matter. He said, question, question, question. We tend to teach our children, when we teach them religion, don't question, just do as I tell you. God exists. But he said the exact opposite. And you can tell from his question to Sri Ramakrishna, does God exist, that he not just says the opposite, he believes in the opposite. Question it. And until we are satisfied through our own discoveries that God exists, even we will never be sure of his existence. Another one of his quotations, believe not because an old manuscript has been produced, because it has been handed down to you from your forefathers, because your friends want you to think for yourself. Search that truth for yourself. Realize it for yourself. So just because I have an old manuscript, just because the Veda says it is, doesn't mean it is. I have to question that as well. So it's all about self-belief. It's all about the confidence that what I am opening my mouth to say is. So if I say that there is God, then God is. Not because you told me, not because Swamiji told me, but because I believe in it deep down in the core of myself. So now we go to that famous other situation. Swamiji stands on top of a pedestal, on top of a stage, on a rostrum, I'm sure pretty much like this. And he says, brothers and sisters of America, sisters and brothers of America. Again, there was a big applause and all that, but we very caught up with the fact that he said sisters and brothers of America without realizing what that actually means. See, if I say ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking to you. Ladies and gentlemen is an aristocratic term which was used to greet people of education and cultured groups of people. But when I say sisters and brothers, you are part of my family. It's a very, very different reaction here, or relationship here. And probably that's why the African Americans started saying, hey bro, hey sis. Yeah. They wanted to say that you are one of me. And you notice they usually say it to fellow African Americans, until of course it got. Of course today's Gen Z will say, hey brah. I don't know what that means. But here I am talking about the relationship he creates. He was a very inclusive person. He did not say you are somebody else and I am me. He did not say that I found God, you didn't. He talks about God that exists in every single one of us, that we just have to manifest and find out and realize that God already exists in me, exists in you. So therefore you and me are one. There is no difference. Again, it's, as Swami Sridharananda will constantly tell me, an attitudinal change that has to happen within us. Education. Swamiji believed in the power of education not as rote learning but as a means to awaken the potential within every individual. He envisioned an education system that built character, instilled confidence, and prepared people to contribute meaningfully to society. He would say that education is not the amount of information that is put into your brain and runs riot there, undigested all your life. We must have life-building, man-making, character-making assimilation of ideas. If you have assimilated 5 ideas and made them your life and character, you have more education than any man who has got by heart a whole library. That's actually a very ironic statement, this. Making by heart a whole library. Because he was tested with the Encyclopedia Britannica. Can you go and read it and recite to me? And he recited it back to front. So actually, he made by heart a whole library. But he's telling us that doing that by itself is of no value. So education is the manifestation of the perfection that's already in man. We are perfect. But we need to figure that out. And that's the hard part. Well, on a side note, right, when we talk about education, we talk about this whole trip to USA that he made. On that trip to the USA on the ship, he met an industrialist, a known industrialist. Remember that Swami Vivekananda at this time was not a very well-known man. He was well-known, but he wasn't this internationally famous individual that everyone could recognize. So Swami Vivekananda met Jamshedji Tata while on that ship. And they had a discussion on education and the future of India and where it has to go. That chance meeting in 1893 led to the formation of the whole series of IIT colleges in India. So that's, Jamshedji Tata started the IIT of Science, II Science in Bengaluru, which then expanded to form all the various other IIT colleges across India, the foremost and prestigious universities that exist in India today. So in a lot of ways, he had a hand in it because he influenced Tata to start this sort of a program. Now, when he looked at religion, he always looked at religion as, I'm right, you are right. He never sought to convert people from their religions to Hinduism. He never did that. In his words, he seeks to make a Christian a better Christian. He makes us make a Muslim a better Muslim, etc., etc. So he used to say that we believe not in universal toleration, but we accept all religions as true. The key word here is we do not seek universal toleration. We accept them all as true. So Shashi Tharoor, in one of his talks, and by the way, Shashi Tharoor also wrote a book about Swami Vivekananda, he actually explains the difference between being tolerant and acceptance. Tolerance is, I'm right, I don't think you're right, but let's just shake hands and be friends. Acceptance is, I'm right, you are right, and we shall live together. So, tolerance is, I'm right, you are not right, but Okay, fine. But acceptance is, there's no doubt. I'm right, you are right. So again, that's a profound difference in philosophy and a profound difference in thinking, a major attitudinal change. But most of all, I think if I met Swami Vivekananda today, or the adult Narendra Datta, he would be a heck of a motivational speaker. He would put people like the current, people, Tony Robbins and even Deepak Chopra, he'd put them to shame the way he is able to motivate people. But here's a strange part. He says, you guys are all already hypnotized. I'm trying to de-hypnotize you. That's also one of his speeches. So he's saying, we are all already in hypnosis. He has come and his work is to de-hypnotize you so that you know the truth. So in terms of motivational works, if you want to read them, there's 9 volumes available in this library. And all 9 volumes are required so that you can see the relationship. And it's a highly recommended read, though it takes a bit of time. It's a bit heavy on the language. So here's some of the motivational quotes that I would like to bring up. The famous one is, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. Now, whether you want to look at it from a religious point of view, where you say the goal is reaching God, or you want to look at it from a material perspective, that the goal is to be rich, the goal is to own a Mercedes-Benz, don't stop till you reach your goal. Arise, awake, give yourself a good kick, and stop not till the goal is reached. Then he says, you cannot believe in God until you believe in yourself. That's self-confidence. He's talking about your own self-faith. Why go and believe in God if you can't even believe in yourself to achieve what you need to achieve? God's not going to achieve it for you. God is there. He is your support. He is your strength. He is the man who holds your back. But He's not going to achieve it for you. You've got to achieve it yourself. So believe in yourself. The other one, take up one idea, make that idea your life, think of it, dream of it, live on that idea. Isn't that what a lot of people who say when they say manifest your future? Think of an idea, dream of it, make it your life, go for it. It's the same thing that we now say, manifest where you want to be, work towards it. And my favorite, what we want is muscles of iron and nerves of steel. Muscles of iron and nerves of steel. If you don't have muscles of iron, nerves of steel, you don't have the strength, the courage, the temerity, the arrogance, the desire to go get what it is you want to get, regardless of whether you want to call it God or not. So when we remove this religious construct, if I met an adult Narendranath Datta, personality is the same, he looks the same, or by the way, he was a very fashionable person, so he would mingle with us very easily. What do we see? We see a humanist, a leader who believed in the limitless, that means unlimited, limitless potential of the human mind. A patriot who wanted his country to rise not through aggression but through knowledge and compassion. A global citizen who spoke of unity long before globalization became a buzzword. So he was already talking about a global order long before anybody ever talked about globalization. If he was alive today, what would he be other than a monk? He could be a technocrat such as Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Ford, etc., because he believed in that sort of science and development. He could have been as rich as them, as successful as them, hands down. He could have been an educator. He could have been chancellor, vice chancellor of universities, he would have been encouraging people to uplift themselves through schools. He definitely could have been a motivational speaker such as Tony Robbins, Deepak Chopra, and be far more successful than they were because he already was at that time. So in conclusion, an adult Narendranath Datta without the title of Swami Vivekananda was a thinker, a reformer, and above all a man who believed in humanity. His message was simple yet profound. If we embrace that spirit today, we can build a world that is not just prosperous, but just and humane. And given the fact that he could have been so hugely successful in anything he just about touched, in 39 years of living, he chose humility, he chose humanity, he chose God, he chose the path to help us realize that there is no difference between God, you, me, and nature outside. And boy, is he successful in doing that as well. So now I invite another teenager to the podium. Arpan. Yes, he's coming. Okay, thank you.
Namaste everyone. With all of your due respect, I would like to read from memorable events in the life of Swami Vivekananda in remembrance of Swamiji's 163rd Tithi birthday. Bhuvaneshwari Devi, Narendranath's mother, was a noble lady. In his later life, Swami Vivekananda used to say time and again, I am indebted to her for my intellectual development. She taught Narendra in a unique way. The following event is illustrative. Once Narendra was punished at school for no fault of his own. The geography teacher asked him a question which Narendra answered correctly, but the teacher thought he was wrong and punished him. But Narendra was undaunted, even as a boy. He protested, I committed no error, sir. I'm sure what I said is right. This made the teacher furious, and he caned Narendra mercilessly. Narendra returned home, his eyes filled with tears, and narrated everything to his mother. But Bhuvaneshwari consoled him, saying, My son, why do you care if you are in the right? Follow the truth always, whatever happens. Narendranath found his master, Sri Ramakrishna, to be an embodiment of the ideal his mother had instilled in him. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, Truth is to be cultivated by all means. If a man holds to truth in this Kali Yuga, he will certainly realize God. And Sri Ramakrishna himself practiced what he preached. This ideal of unwavering loyalty to truth, which Swamiji saw in his mother and later in his spiritual master, found expression in all his actions. It was therefore only but natural that the world would later hear him proclaim, Everything can be sacrificed for truth, but truth cannot be sacrificed for anything. His mother once gave him this advice, Be pure, live a clean life, defend your dignity, and be respectful to others. Be gentle and modest, but do not hesitate to be firm when the situation requires it. This wise counsel helped to mold Narendra's character. From the time he was a child, he knew how to maintain his self-respect. He never hesitated to show due respect to others. At the same time, he was not prepared to stomach provoked insult from anyone. Narendra was amazed one day when one of his father's friends treated him with contempt for no reason at all. He was unfamiliar with such an attitude, for his parents had never considered him to be too young to be treated respectfully. How strange, he thought. Even my father never belittles me this way. Then he stood erect like a bruised king cobra and firmly said to the gentleman, Look, there are many like you who think age and intelligence are synonymous, but that is not so. The gentleman readily admitted his error. In the Katha Upanishad, we came across Nachiketa, another fearless child who had great self-confidence. Swami Vivekananda always admired Nachiketa, who had said, "I may be the best, or at least better than many, but I'm never the worst." Narendra's father, Vishwanath Datta, was well known for his charity. Mahendranath Datta, his second son, writes of him, "The impulse to help poor was almost like a disease with him. In his locality, he was popularly called Vishwanath the Benevolent. He could hardly remain silent when he found someone in distress. He would bear ungrudgingly the educational expenses for the children of his distant relatives and would go out of his way to alleviate the poverty of his neighbors. What is striking is he did not discriminate in matters of charity. He would give financial aid even to drug addicts. Narendranath noticed this and once drew his father's attention to this gross misuse of money. At this, Vishwanath said, "Life is full of suffering, my son. When you grow up, you will realize all of this yourself and will have pity even on addicts or those who take to drink and other voices to get temporary relief from endless miseries of life." Thank you.
Before I hand the mic over to Swamiji and then Arati, Pushpanjali, and we'll go down for Prasad. Just the announcements one more time. If you would like to donate, the table behind us, behind you, takes donations. If you want tax deductible donations, that's also available. The next event here is Shivaratri on the 15th of February. It's a Sunday night. You're all welcome to join us. And then Guru Maharaj's birthday will be the following Sunday on the 22nd of February. So on that note, thank you for being here, and don't forget we have Prasad at the end of the day. Thank you. Okay, Swamiji will be making an offering. If there's anyone who want to come and provide us with a song, offer a song, please come forward. Thank you. Since there are no takers to come forward and offer a song, we'll all turn to the white book, page 13. We can sing this song together. भवसागर तारण कारण हे रविनंदन बंदन कंदन हे भवसागर तारण कारण हे रविनंदन बंदन कंदन हे शरणागत किंकर भीतमने शरणागत किंकर भीतमने गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जाने गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जाने गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जाने, हृदय कंदर तामस वास करहे, तुमी विष्णु प्रजापति शंकर है, पर ब्रह्म परात्पर वेद बने, पर ब्रह्म परात्पर वेद मने, गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जाने, गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जाने, गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जाने, मनवारण शासन अंकुश है, नर त्राण तरे हरि चाक्षुष है, गुणगान परायण देवगणे, गुणगान परायण देवगणे, गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जाने, गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जाने, गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जाने, कुल कुंडलिन गुम बंज कहे, हृदय ग्रंथि विदारण कार कहे, मम मानस चंचल रात्र दिने, मम मानस चंचल रात्र दिने, गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जाने, गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जाने, गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जाने, रिपु सुंदन मंगल नायक है, सुख शांति बरा भयदायक है, त्रयताप हरे तब नाम गुणे, त्रयताप हरे, गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जाने, गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जाने, गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जाने, अभिमान प्रभाव विमद कहे, गतिहीन जाने तुम राक्ष कहे, चित शंकित वंचित भक्ति दाने, चित शंकित वंचित भक्ति दाने, गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जाने, गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जाने, गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जाने, तव नाम सदा शुभ साधक है, पतिता दम मानव पावक है, महिमा तव गोचर शुद्ध मने, महिमा तव गोचर शुद्ध मने, गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जाने, गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जाने, गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जाने, जय सद्गुरु ईश्वर प्रापक है, भव रोग विकार विनाशक है, मन ये न रहे तब श्री चरणी, मन ये न रहे तब श्री चरणी, गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जाने, 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 गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जाने. For the Arti, please remain seated. Stay where you are. नमो प्रभु वाक्य मनातीत, नमो नमो प्रभु वाक्य मनातीत, मनोवचनैकादा प्रभु मनोवचनैकादा. ज्योतिर ज्योतिर ज्वलहृदि कंदर, ज्योतिर ज्योतिर ज्वलहृदि कंदर, तुमितम भंजनः प्रभु तुमितम भंजनः. नमो प्रभु वाक्य मनातीत, नमो नमो प्रभु वाक्य मनातीत, मनोवचनैकादा प्रभु मनोवचनैकादा. ज्योतिर ज्योतिर ज्वलहृदि कंदर, ज्योतिर ज्योतिर ज्वलहृदि कंदर, तुमितम भंजनः प्रभु तुमितम भंजनः. लंग रंग भंग बाजे अंग संग मृद, कैची चंद्र भगत वृंद आरती तुमा, कैची चंद भगत वृंद आरती तुमा, जय जय आरती तुमा, हर हर आरती तुमा, शिव शिव आरती तुमा.
floral offerings, that is Pushpanjali. You may take the flowers in your hands and keep them. Flowers and Bilvapatra is also there, fortunately. Yeah, you can stand, and yes, better to stand. If you cannot, please be seated. If you can just stand and say a few mantras and mentally offer it at the feet of the Lord and pray for the welfare of everyone, not only yourself but for everyone. Wait, let the Arati go round and then we shall. There are lots of flowers you can give here also. You can, you can take, I think everybody has got it. Take more, there is plenty. Om Sarvadharma Sthapakastvam Sarvadharma Swarupakaha Acharyanam Mahacharyo Ramakrishnaya Te Namaha Esha Sachandana Patra Pushpanjalihi Sangaya Savarnaya Sashaktikaya Saparshadaya Sarvadeva Devi Swarupaya Sri Ramakrishnaya Vaushad. Mentally offer it at the feet of the divine and feel that the Lord is blessing you. Om Niranjanam Nityam Akhandarupam Bhaktanukampa Dhruta Vigraham Vai Ishavataram Parameshamidhyam Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namami ॐ परतत्त्वे सदालीनो रामकृष्ण समाज्ञया यो धर्म स्थापनरतो वीरेशं तं नमाम्यहम्. You may come and offer the flowers onto the trays here. We will offer it to the divine. And after the offering, please wear your shoes and go downstairs to accept the prasad. I would request our management committee members, we have a committee meeting soon after the lunch, to first have the lunch and then come upstairs to the library for the management committee meeting.